Hi, I'm Hub Arkush for Pro Football Weekly as we continue with our 32 NFL team training camp opening reports. I'm joined by Associate Editor Dan Parr, who covers the NFC South for us. Dan, the Atlanta Falcons, I think you got to call last year a disappointment. They get back to the playoffs, but they played badly there. Not very active in free agency. They did make a trade that could matter, and they hope that they got help in the draft.
Yeah, Asante Samuel is the cornerback they traded for. Mike Nolan comes in as the defensive coordinator, and he wants that emphasis to be on getting better in the secondary. They know the kind of passing offenses they're going to be facing this year. They need Asante Samuel to come in and be a playmaker in the secondary. Offensive line was the other priority for them this offseason, and they addressed it in the draft with their first pick. Peter Kahn's a second-rounder. He's a guy who's probably going to start at right guard, but eventually they expect to be the staple at center once Todd McClure moves on.
Well, Dan, we know as they go to training camp, offensive line is one focus on the offensive side of the ball. Will that be their main focus or other areas to worry about too?
I think that's the main focus. I think they're going to have a big competition there. They want to see guys at every spot competing for jobs. There's really only two that are open, I think, to changing, and that is center and right guard. Peter Kahn's is a guy that they're expecting to come in and potentially be a starter right away. Todd McClure battling Joe Hawley at center. There's a list of other guys at right guard that are battling against Kahn's to get that job. So who wins those two jobs, and can they make the difference? Do they have enough now where in those third and short, fourth and short situations, they can get the push they need, and off the edge, are they going to be able to block for Matt Ryan so that the deep passing game has enough time to develop? That's a big question mark.
You know, defensively, they've been trying to reinvent themselves for a while. Now you got Mike Nolan as the coordinator. You've traded for Asante Samuel. As we go to training camp here, where will Nolan's focus be to make this defense better right away?
Well, a pass defense that's ranked 20th, 22nd, 28th, and 21st over the past 4 seasons has to improve. I think it starts up front with Ray Edwards and John Abraham. These are two defensive ends they've invested heavily in. They need them to be more effective. That's going to help that secondary again. They have Samuel in there now. They have Brent Grimes and Dante Robinson, two guys that are very highly paid. Just look at where the resources have been allocated for this team. You look at the defensive line and in the secondary. They need those two areas to be much better this season than they were last year. Just not good enough.
Who are the veterans on this club you expect to take a big step forward this year?
I think the two offensive players they drafted in 2011 that didn't have a full offseason last year, they get that now. Julio Jones, Jacquizz Rodgers, the running back. They expect this guy to be a Darren Sproles-like weapon in their offense. And Jones, who had some really good games last year as a rookie, now can he put together a full season and become maybe even more productive than Roddy White, a guy who's been rock solid for many years now.
Veterans on the bubble who need a big training camp, Dan?
Well, I think Lofa Tatupu, the guy who sat out all last season. We know he's been a Pro Bowl talent in the past. Injuries have kind of caught up to him. He's competing against Akeem Dent for middle linebacker. If he doesn't win that starting job, I don't think there's a place for him on this team. And then at guard, Vince Manawai, Mike Johnson, Andrew Jackson. These are guys who, if they don't come in and steal a show and prove that they can be helpful at right guard, they're probably not going to end up on the roster either. Not all of those guys are going to fit.
Big training camp for the Falcons in the highly competitive NFC South. For all 32 of our NFL team previews and news, notes, and analysis as they happen, stay right where you are at ProFootballWeekly.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.